Hello, and welcome to the Real Football Fans of New Jersey. That intro never gets freaking old. It is so incredible, and we honestly love counting down 30 seconds every single week before we get in front of you. But welcome. Thank you for joining us. It is episode 151. We surpassed 150, that great milestone. And guess what? We are still cruising. We're cruising to that big 200, and here we are tonight. We have an amazing show for you, especially because of all the free agency frenziness going on. So we have a lot to report on in the world of football, but then also, don't you worry, we got your housewives stuff too. So let's go ahead and get into it. We did poll you guys this week. We gave you 3 poll questions, and as always, the engagement, the votes, it was through the roof. Thank you guys. Keep voting on our stuff. So we asked you 3 questions.
Yeah.
So the questions were, do you think Ryan Fitzpatrick will be the starting QB for Washington over Taylor Heinicke and Kyle Allen? The second question is, do you think Jameis Winston will be the starting QB for the Saints this season? And the final question, who's the more underrated Real Housewives of New Jersey hubby? You know, we love those men. Marge's Joe or Bill Aiden? So let's get into these questions. Obviously, again, we did get a lot of votes, so these numbers are pretty interesting, I would say. So the first one around Ryan Fitzpatrick, and will he be the starter over Heinicke or Allen this season down in Washington? 80% of you said yes.
Yeah, I said yes on this. I think you said no.
I said
right.
Okay. Yes.
I said yes on this, kind of going off of, I believe I said this last week with the Cam Newton situation. I think we were trying to predict in our game whether Cam Newton would be a starter somewhere. And it kind of reminds me similar to a situation where you have a vet like a Ryan Fitzpatrick. Mm-hmm. And let's say you drafted somebody in the first round, you might as well start the vet to begin the season and let the rookie learn. And now I'm not saying Taylor Heinicke or Kyle Allen are rookies. They're not. But I just feel like Fitzpatrick is the safe veteran move to go with on week 1. And honestly, he played well for Miami this past season. I like him the best out of these 3 quarterbacks. That's just me.
I think it's going to come down to him and Kyle Allen at camp. And I think they're going to move towards Kyle Allen as we come closer to, starting day, or whatever the first game of the season. And I think it might be a wish-washy thing down in Washington where it's going to be maybe Kyle Allen one day or, maybe Fitzpatrick, right away. But I don't think he's going to start. And I think that's kind of like almost like Fitzpatrick's like MO. Like he's not always the starter. Like always something goes on where he has to go in and then he does well. And then they name him the starter for like 2 weeks. And then something else happens. So that's been like his legacy in the NFL. And I think he'll kind of go down in history like that. Like what is this, like his 10th team that he's been?
He is a true NFL journeyman. And honestly, like this could very well be a situation. And granted, in Washington last year when it was Alex Smith and not Ryan Fitzpatrick, all 3 of those quarterbacks saw the field. Mm-hmm. That was due to injuries and stuff like that. But we could very well see like all 3 of these guys see playing time this year. That wouldn't surprise me at all.
Oh, not at all. And even if they go after someone else, the whole 4 people might get playing time. Stranger things that happened last season. We saw 3 quarterbacks get playing time there. 4 actually did last year. So it could happen again. All right. We do got a couple of comments over on Twitter. So we got a little, what's up, ladies, from Hot Dog City over down in the top bottom left. Good old Hot Dog. What is up? Nothing is up. We're here live with you. And then we have over from the CBB pod. Obviously, they are the one who created this beautiful artwork. Thank you. Did the Giants do anything yet? No, they did not. You're probably referring to Kenny Golladay. But
we have done. So wait for us to report on it. Stick with us and hang out.
Yes, but in regards to Kenny Golladay, no, but it's there. It's right there. I can feel it.
And everybody, I'm literally keeping NFL's Instagram account up while we do this show. I have it next to me just in case anything breaks during the show.
Good. I literally did tweet like from our Twitter account before the show, and I was just like, Giants, can you like make a decision like before we go live at 7:30? Like that would be great because we have a show to do. So moving into our second poll question, do you think Jameis Winston will be the starting quarterback for the Saints this season? So obviously we'll get into Drew Brees and everything later, but 60% of you said no.
I went with no.
I said yes.
Okay. I went with no because we have to remember that Taysom Hill is also there. And I'm just going back to this past season when Drew Brees was hurt. And I know a lot of people thought that Jameis Winston was going to go in and start when Brees was sidelined. And it didn't happen. They went with Taysom Hill. And I kind of just feel like they might go down that route again. But again, another situation where I could see both guys playing for them. Another situation where even though they're late in the draft, I have seen a quarterback who seems to be going in the middle to late of the first round in a lot of mock drafts. And I've specifically seen him a lot to the New Orleans Saints, and that is Alabama's Mac Jones. So,
oh, Mac, I wouldn't mind seeing you in a Saints
in the mix too. He could somebody could be in the mix as well, a rookie.
So here's my thought with Jameis Winston and Taysom Hill. I think last season they didn't have the opportunity to build up Jameis as Drew Brees was to Taysom Hill. So when Drew Brees goes down, Jameis isn't your starter because he doesn't have that dynamic when Taysom Hill comes in as an option. They didn't work on that relationship yet. They didn't work on that dynamic or anything like that. So for New Orleans, it might have made sense. Let's just throw Taysom in there, eliminate the option. I think Jameis maybe had gone in one time as that quote unquote option. They didn't have the time to work around it. So I think that's why they made that decision. They now have an entire offseason to mold Jameis into that starter as a Drew Brees starter and how he worked with Taysom Hill side by side. So they have the time to do that now. And I think Taysom Hill is better at what he does option-wise. That's what he's meant for. That's what they pay him the big monopoly money dollars for. I don't know where they're getting that money to pay him, but they're paying him big. And they kept him around, and I think it's for that reason.
Yeah. I mean, listen, and me saying Taysom Hill as a starter, I don't really truly know who I like better as a starting quarterback between those two. I'm just mainly going off of what I saw last season, but your rebuttal, playing devil's advocate of why they might have done that makes sense to me. And again, I still think this is a situation where we see both of these guys play.
Alrighty, and then finally, our Real Housewives of New Jersey hubbies. Who do we think is more underrated? Marge's Joe, there's so many Joes, but Marge's in particular, or Bill Aiden? Oh, wait, I think I actually wrote this down. Oh, okay, I wrote this down incorrectly because I wrote down what I wanted the answer to be. 58% of you went with Joe.
Yeah, and Caitlin and I both went with Bill Aiden.
I love Bill.
I want to say that I thought this was a really good question, though, because I do feel both are very underrated.
Bill is such a dark horse, though.
He's such a dark horse. He is literally your dark horse upset of March Madness, right? Of the March Madness hubbies housewives bracket.
He's that what's that one team, like Austin, whatever, SF Austin. Like he is SF Austin.
But you know what I thought was very interesting, and I don't know if you caught it. It was Dolores was on Watch What Happens Live after last week's Jersey episode, and she was getting questions and everything like that. And whoever was on with her, I didn't recognize who she was, and I only caught this one clip. Was talking, she was like, I'm going to give you my list of unpopular Real Housewives of New Jersey opinions. And Dolores, you said whether you agree or not. And she basically said her unpopular opinion was that she thought Marge's Joe was like really sexy. Like, he's like, he can work, he can build things. Like,
not bad.
Slow, he's really casual, he doesn't try too hard. And Dolores, funny enough, was like, I am so hot for Joe. She's like, you guys can ask Marge. Like, I absolutely love him. And I thought it was hilarious because I actually did know that Joe, like Marge has said on the show before that Joe has a crush on Dolores. So to hear it back, I don't know, it just cracked me up. So I think both of these guys are really underrated, but we went with Bill.
Listen, I'm hot for all of our jersey hubbies. I think they're all hot and sexy and unique in their own ways.
They
They are. I wouldn't be upset married to any of them. So if the option's on the table, men, hit me up.
We love our jersey. We love our jersey hubbies.
We absolutely do. So those were our poll questions for tonight. As always, thank you guys for participating. If you have any questions for us, we are live right now on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. So go ahead, ask us some questions. Let us know. Let us know your thoughts on what's going on right now. So
yeah, it's a lot. So as we promised you, definitely our biggest story of the night is we have to report on all the moves, and there's been a ton of them. Like sometimes we have free agency periods that are a little quiet, and you're kind of waiting for people to do stuff. This has been constant, hence why I have my phone pulled up next to me.
We can't miss anything.
Can't miss anything. So there's a lot. And granted, not every name is on this list, but these are like the big ones, the ones that you see like NFL announce like on their Instagram accounts because they're big. They mean something. I'm going to rattle off the names. Caitlin, feel free if there's anybody specifically on the list you want to shout out as you like that move or maybe a move that surprised you. But let's start with names of guys who are now on new teams. Okay. So we have Houston signed running back Mark Ingram.
I'm a little I know we're just starting out. I'm actually a little I'm surprised that they were able to pick him up, to be honest. I think that I'm trying to gather my thoughts here on this because Houston's obviously a dumpster fire right now. And I just to pick up a very well-known name like Mark Ingram, for me, if I were him, I'd be like, do I really want, because he's definitely near his end of his, maybe not fully near the end, but I'd be like, do I really want to kind of roll down the rest of my journey here? I don't know. I was very shocked.
What you're saying is what I'm thinking is if I'm going to go to a team like Houston, it's because you paid me good money. So I don't know the numbers off the top of my head, but it must have been a pretty good deal.
Right.
New England signed tight end Jonnu Smith. He's a little bit of a dark horse tight end.
Right.
New England also signed linebacker Matthew Judon. He was definitely a top free agent at the linebacker position. That was a good one. Kansas City, they signed offensive lineman Joe Thuney. He was definitely one of the top offensive, if not the top offensive lineman. Not top. We'll get to that in a little bit. But Kansas City, I never understand. Caitlin, out of any other team in the league, I think Caitlin and I can agree. We don't know where Kansas City gets their money from.
I don't know where they do, but they do have a huge gap in the line. So that was actually a very, very solid signing for them. Yeah. But it's, someone of that stature, you're clearly paying big money. And the two linemen that they released recently, it wasn't adding up to this value. So you're right. They play with monopoly money.
But that's a great signing. Caitlin and I hold the offensive line position at the highest value. We really do.
Oh yeah.
Cleveland, they signed cornerback John Johnson III. Mm-hmm. Oakland signed defensive end Yannick Ngakoue.
I thought that was a really good pickup for them.
I'm just surprised he's been bouncing around from teams to teams. You know what I mean? When you see a really solid guy like that bounce around.
Yeah. Well, that was the storyline, all of last year. We were trying to inform you guys of where he was going to go. We didn't know. And for him to go to another team, I 100% agree with you on that one. But I actually do think this is a good landing spot for him. And I don't think it'll be up in the air in a year or two where he's going to go, because I think he might find it here.
Yeah, he's got to find his home. New England, again, everybody, NFL memes, all of us have been hysterically laughing that New England has just signed the world to their team.
Literally, everyone plays for the Patriots now.
Caitlin and I are waiting for our calls. We have yet to have our calls, but New England signed wide receiver Nelson Aguilar. Mm-hmm. The Jets, another wide receiver going off the board. The Jets signed wide receiver Corey Davis.
So that was the big one. So that was basically
that's who I thought we were going to get. That's why Giants.
I know.
I said that last week.
And you did, and you had a great reasoning behind it of just like kind of like, you see the Giants going after a guy like this, like it's a good solid, it's like a safe signing. You could get him for like a reason about money and things like that. Yeah. So when I saw his name like go off the board, I was like, oh, I thought of you right away. And because after you like spoke about it, I was like, all right, like I can see that a little bit more. Like I do like that. I'd be comfortable with it. But that was the sign that like the Jets weren't getting Golladay after that. So that kind of like pump my spirits up a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. This was another guy that I didn't realistically think the Giants would get, but man, I mean, I would have been so pumped if they did. Tennessee signed linebacker Bud Dupree. That's a great signing for an already great team. Washington, of course, as we said, signed quarterback Ryan Fitzpatrick. That was like the first one. And then we had a trickling of quarterbacks. We'll get into them in a second. New England again, signing another tight end. New England has always classically been a team that loves two solid tight ends, and they'll play them on the field at the same time. This is a big one. They got Hunter Henry. Big signing there for them. Jacksonville signed Shaquille Griffin. Minnesota signed defensive tackle Dalvin Tomlinson. That was heartbreak for us.
Heartbroken.
The off season.
Heartbroken. Listen, am I happy that he went to a team that means nothing to me? Sure, why not? But my plead and my cry to Dalvin Tomlinson is, please, you should have just waited a little bit longer, and the Giants maybe could have restructured you. They could have done something. It really breaks my heart. Oh my God, I understand it would have been a struggle to keep him and Leonard Williams. And when it came down to it, Leonard Williams was the guy to keep. And I'm not upset about that, but I am upset about, oh God, this kills me. It's
Minnesota, let's not forget, broke my heart however many years ago when they also stole Linville Joseph from us. So maybe they're going to start to be on our shit list.
They are now.
The Jets signed defensive end Carl Lawson. Baltimore, this involves the Giants again. The Giants released guard Kevin Zeitler, and Baltimore signed him. Kind of a thing of freeing up money. It was going to be very costly to keep him. Also had to figure out what we were going to do with Nate Solder. So that was a tricky situation. The Giants did make their first move, their first splash with signing wide receiver John Ross. Caitlin and I talked about him a little bit before the show, saying that, you get a guy like Golladay, who's going to be a wide receiver 1, and John Ross, I think with the other receivers we have, is like a solid wide receiver 3. To me, in my mind, if we get Golladay and we have Ross, I could see the Giants going elsewhere at the 11 pick, either an offensive lineman or a pass rusher. Want to still get a wide receiver, get him in the 2nd or 3rd round.
Yeah, we'll see. You had mentioned it before the show too. It's a wide receiver deep draft. So you just got to keep your eyes open there. Would I want to pass on a guy like, Devontae Smith or Jalen Waddle? No, of course not. But then, there's just a lot. It really does. I think the Giants squad has been so set on a wide receiver at that 11 spot. If we do get Golladay, of course, we're going to be happy and, the confetti is going to go. But it does completely change our mind to a draft that is now 45 days away or 40 something days away. Now it's let more mock drafts commence.
Or if we have Kenny Golladay, right, and John Ross, maybe they don't go wide receiver at 11. And although I don't think he would be there at 11, maybe that's more incentive to try and get tight to Kyle Pitts. That's an option.
I also think too, and a lot of people were talking about Pitts over the past couple of weeks, and I understand this isn't us going off on a Giants rant here, but if we normally wanted to get him, we'd have to trade up to get him. He's not going to be at the 11th pick. But if we're solid at the wide receiver core and we're comfortable with moving and we don't need necessarily some real estate, because the Giants have a decent amount of real estate in the draft this year. So if we're comfortable with giving certain things up, that's fine. But we just have to play it super safe. So if we're going after someone like that, we have to move up. And is it worth it? I don't know. I guess I just have to see a couple more mock drafts to see if I'm comfortable with that.
Yeah, and more moves are going to be made, so we'll see how things shake out. Again, we don't have Galladay, so we're just playing like theory.
We're just like playing like we do have it.
I have a run on 3 quarterbacks back to back to back. Chicago signing Andy Dalton. He, came in for the Cowboys when Dak went down. Showed that he could still be a starter in the NFL.
Right.
So that could be interesting in Chicago if no one new other than that gets into the mix, right? I mean, he could potentially start. You never know. Houston signing quarterback Tyrod Taylor. Miami.
That's proof that they're nervous. Deshaun Watson's going to sit on them. He's sitting on them. He's not playing. So you definitely bring a guy like Tyrod Taylor into the mix. He is, I want to say, like, it's like weird because like, he's obviously a veteran.
Tyrod fan.
I am, and I just think he's been dealt like a lot of shitty cards that he obviously hasn't. I think what I feel for him though is that say Houston does trade Deshaun Watson and they trade up in the draft to go after one of the young studs. You then have Tyrod Taylor, who's great at grooming, great coach.
That is what the trap he's fallen into on every team is where he just goes and grooms rookie quarterbacks.
That's the only thing I could think of when, as soon as I saw Tyrod Taylor going to Houston, I was like, oh no, like Deshaun Watson's leaving. They're going after a young guy. Tyrod's going to be like blowing up at camp. And then it's just, he's not going to be the starter.
Still convinced over here that Deshaun is staying with Houston, but we'll see what happens. Miami, we've got Ryan Fitzpatrick leaving, but we've got Jacoby Brissett coming in. The Buffalo Bills signing wide receiver Emmanuel Sanders. New Orleans actually released him. Washington signing cornerback William Jackson III. Detroit signing running back Jamal Williams. Arizona signing wide receiver AJ Green, as if they didn't already have one of the top receiving core in the NFL. This to me solidifies it. They are number one.
They definitely are. And maybe it's like me not doing my homework and realizing that, AJ Green like was a free agent or but I'm weird that the Bengals was so easy to let him go.
AJ Green has been a forgotten man.
And I think we've said this on the show many a times, and I pick him on fantasy every year because he does well for me. But you have a young quarterback in Joe Burrow, and you're going to let go of a veteran wide receiver like that? You better be making some other moves then, because you also we just picked up a wide receiver from you as well. I'm curious as to what's going on in their mind right now.
You're right. One of the top free agents, in my opinion. So Carolina got a good one in signing linebacker Hassan Reddick.
Yeah.
And then Kansas City doubling down on the offensive lineman Kyle Long out of retirement, going to Kansas City. Hey, if you're going to come out of retirement and you could just slide right into KC and try to win the Super Bowl, sounds pretty freaking nice. He was like, you know what? Tom Brady, Gronk came out of retirement, followed Tom Brady, won a ring. I'm going to go join Patrick Mahomes. Let's do this.
Yeah, definitely. That would have been a solid pickup for any team. But like I had said before, Kansas City had those 2 gaps open in their line, and they filled them pretty quickly. So a lot of smart decisions there from that franchise.
Yep. So no new moves yet on Instagram. We're good. Nothing has.
Okay.
We're going to talk now about the guys who have been re-signed to their teams or given extensions. New England re-signed quarterback Cam Newton. I think that kind of surprised some people.
Yeah.
But yeah, they do need somebody in-house to work with. Tampa Bay agreed to a 1-year extension with quarterback Tom Brady. Green Bay re-signed running back Aaron Jones. Needed to do that.
That was up in the air. I think a lot of people were 50-50 on that one. What was going to happen there?
50-50 because he didn't get tagged, and then people were like, ooh, is he going to go elsewhere?
Right.
But definitely good for them to bring him back. Tampa Bay really keeping this Super Bowl team together. They re-signed linebacker Shaq Barrett. They also re-signed tight end Rob Gronkowski. We spoke about this earlier. New Orleans re-signed quarterback Jameis Winston. The Rams re-signed defensive end Leonard Floyd. San Francisco re-signed fullback Kyle Juszczyk. I always trip and fall over his name. And the Giants, obviously the big one, re-signed defensive tackle Leonard Williams, which was good because obviously, as you guys know, we tagged him. But by coming to an agreement on a contract and giving him signing, we actually saved money for our cap space. So that helped. That was good. We have also restructured Nate Solder's contract, saved some money there. You see the wheels turning at MetLife. Try to make room for a big signing. So
listen, great signing for not only the Giants, but just for Leonard Williams, like as a player. He's a young player, 27. This deal is technically over at 29 years old, and this is an amazing contract for him. So he's going to look to up it in 3 years. So just a tremendous player. So we do have a comment from YouTube, and it's to you, Katie, because you're wearing a Celtics shirt.
I kind of had a weird feeling somebody was going to bring up my shirt, but go ahead.
So they're asking who's your favorite player on the Celtics, but then they followed up with, or are you just wearing that because it's St. Patrick's Day?
No, here's a great fact. So I'm not a Celtics fan. I don't have a favorite player on the Celtics. But I am not just wearing this for St. Patty's Day. This actually on the back of my shirt has number 11, has Irving. This is a Kyrie Irving shirt when he played for the Boston Celtics. So I don't have an NBA team. I'm a Duke fan. So I'm a Kyrie fan. And so Kyrie is being repped on this shirt. That's why I own it. And it comes in handy on St. Patrick's Day.
I think that's a great reason to why you have that. I am not a basketball fan whatsoever. NBA, I like college, but so I couldn't even. I think Larry Bird played for the Celtics. That's what I know. Those are that's my knowledge for you.
And then one more re-signing that. Wow, I almost left it off the list. And a lot of analysts actually had this as their number one free agent this offseason, and the team was able to re-sign him. San Francisco 49ers re-signed offensive tackle Trent Williams.
Was huge.
He is now the highest paid offensive lineman in NFL history. So that was if San Fran doesn't do anything else, but they did get Kyle Juszczyk back, securing Trent Williams was huge.
Yeah, 100%.
Again, that's what we have so far. And if anything pops up, I got you. I got my phone right here. I'm ready to go.
All right. We are ready. All right. Let's move into our second big story of the week. And this was obviously a big story. I think a lot of people have been waiting for it to happen. Yes. I'm still a little taken back. I convinced myself this wasn't going to happen. But Drew Brees has officially announced his retirement from the NFL. So this happened on Sunday. It's funny. I had my entire family over for a little pasta Sunday. And my sister looked up. She's like, Drew Brees retired. I was like, no, he didn't. And then I was like, oh,
that's funny because I was with my family on Sunday for a pasta Sunday. And my brother-in-law said, Drew Brees retired. And I said, about time, because not about time, he needed to get out of the league, but we've been waiting for this announcement since the regular season ended.
I know. I just really didn't think it was going to come. So on Sunday, he did take to Instagram with a video of his 4 kids. I thought it was really cute. So his kids announced his retirement after 20 seasons. 20 seasons in the NFL. So in his career, though, we're going to throw some stats at you guys that are just absolutely incredible. He's a 13-time Pro Bowler, a 2-time AP Offensive Player of the Year, the 2006 Walter Payton Man of the Year, and a Super Bowl winner and Super Bowl MVP in 2009. So just that alone shows you.
Yeah. Drew Brees has written the record books. He really has.
We are definitely headed to the Hall of Fame with this one here. So he has an NFL record of over 80,000 yards passing, and finishes his career with 571 touchdown passes and a 67.7 completion percentage. Like, where are you? Where's this next quarter? Where's the next Drew Brees? He walks away at 42 years old. I don't think I realized he was of that age. Like, he just seems so much younger, in my opinion, but seems also that he's been around forever. Yeah. So he did begin his career with the Chargers. I think it's funny enough, like, I think a lot of people actually do, like, forget that, because it's just like he has the Saints like emblem engraved in his face, like it's so he did start with the Drivers. They drafted him with the first pick of the second round, so he's a second rounder in the 2001 draft. So so many years ago, but
I was in I think I was in the 5th grade. I mean, that is insane. That puts it into perspective.
So then on Monday, he did follow up with the retirement announcement, which this is no surprise here. We all knew this was coming. He has already announced that he is joining NBC Sports as a studio analyst for Football Night in America. In addition to that, he will work as a game analyst for NBC's Notre Dame football coverage and will also be a part of other NBC events like the Olympics and Super Bowl 56. No surprise there. He is just a tremendous talent on and off the field. So I'm excited to see him, come in, analyze some games, do some, I love when the guys get together and, the guys and the gals get together before the games and talk about things. So I think he's just going to do a great job with that.
Yeah. I mean, the only comment I want to make about Drew Brees and the retirement and everything like that, I say it on the show a lot, is I just really hate this phase that we're going into where, like I said, I was in the 5th grade when Drew Brees entered the league. So I'm seeing a lot of the guys that like I grew up watching now leave or about to head out the door. And it makes me sad because I just don't know if we're going to see quarterbacks like this again. And I know it's like a really like intense statement to make, right? Because it seems like players today just get faster, stronger, and better. But like, I just don't know if we're going to see another Brady. We're not going to see another Brady. Yeah. I don't know if we're going to see another Brady, a Brees, a Rodgers, a Roethlisberger. Even if people want it, an Eli Manning who played for the same team for 16 seasons, and never missed games. Even that, like to have a guy stay on the same team for like over a decade. I don't know if we're going to see it anymore.
I know.
Now we're like, not only are we seeing those guys leave, but we're also seeing this new thing of like these guys that we thought would be on teams forever. Peyton Manning played for the Broncos. Tom Brady ended up playing for the Buccaneers. Like, people are leaving teams that we thought they would be forever. So I just don't know if we're going to, I'm very sad about this group of guys like on the way out.
Yeah, and you know what? That's why we take the time, though, and we celebrate these individuals. That's why we do feel a little bit of a tug at our heartstrings, because it's not just about the New York Giants for us. It's not just about these players that we watch suit up every single Sunday. It is about the other players that we truly enjoy watching, that we truly have the utmost respect for because of what they were able to deliver in 20 years to all NFL fans and players too. But we do have a comment on YouTube, and it is, who is your favorite player on the Giants? And then there's a follow-up, don't tell me it's Daniel Jones now, LOL. This is actually a very interesting question because the Giants are
current, like on the team currently.
I guess, yeah. So it's because it's a young team. I would say before the other day it was Dalvin Tomlinson. But I
guess I know mine.
Yours is probably Darius Slayton, right?
Yeah, I was really, and it didn't initially just jump out into my head because I was pretty disappointed with the year that he had this past season. And I'm not saying it's all his fault, but I'm pulling for him. I love Darius Slayton. I think he has so much potential. I love what I saw his rookie season. Like, I'm rooting for him hardcore. Like, I want to see him succeed. I'm going to go with Darius Slayton.
I'm so sad. Who the hell is you guys? But if you guys listen to the podcast, you know, like I'm huge into like our linemen. Like I love those guys. Like those are the ones. Like I'm not going always after like the QBs, the Saquons of the world. Like I don't go after those people. Like I love them. I do love Daniel Jones. Don't get me wrong. I don't know. I mean, I'd love to see. I know Xavier McKinney got hurt last year, but I obviously loved what I saw out of him at Alabama. If he can come up in the next couple of years and be a truly solid part of this Giants defense, I can see him be one of my favorite players.
Yeah, we also have a lot of guys who recently came to us in the last year or two who have really been stellar for us that could, if they can stay with us, will really start to turn into some favorites. You know, Bradbury, Jabril Peppers have been with us for a couple seasons now.
I do like Jabril
loves Jabril. So we've got a lot
Blake Martinez. Oh, I love Blake.
Oh, you almost left out Blakey boy. We do love Blake. We love Blake. But I just think a lot of these guys are new, right? They're either young or they just got to us from another team. So I don't think we have built like a relationship and a love for anybody like so strongly.
Yeah. There's still a lot of newness in New York, and I'm okay with that. But it's just it's getting us a lot to adapt to. I literally was thinking the other day, I really thought about getting a Dalvin Tomlinson jersey, and I think I need to stop just thinking about buying jerseys or stop buying jerseys because I literally shoot myself in the foot every time I do.
It's a matter of you have to look at their contract situation. That's literally what it comes down to. So if you had done that without if you had done it when he secured like a contract with if you wanted to get a Leonard Williams jersey right now, I'd say go for it. Like you should be okay for the next couple of seasons. But no, you have to look at contracts now. It's crazy.
I know. I think my best route is just getting Collins taken off my 21 jersey and just get Peppers on the back. I think that's just like my best option.
Somebody make it happen for her.
Someone please help me.
Okay, well, why don't we get into our big stories of the week in the world of Housewives? We only have one. It was a little bit quiet, but we are playing a really great Housewives game. It is March Madness themed as we are getting ready and set for college basketball and March Madness. But let's start with this first big story with the Housewives. We have an update on Tom Girardi's legal woes. It's been a little bit of a hot minute. We've talked about the situation. But per page 6, Tom was recently stripped of his admission to the California State Bar and will no longer be able to practice law. That is a big slap on the wrist for any. That's a big heartbreaking deal. I mean, I think I read that he opened up his law firm like 50 years ago. So this is his livelihood. This is what he knows. And to be stripped of that is a very big deal. The 81-year-old admitted in court that he was broke and that he maybe had a couple $1,000s in his personal bank account. Oof. He also claimed that his stock portfolio of millions was all gone. At one point, he said he had 80 or 50 million in cash, but it's all gone, and he hasn't taken a penny in salary out of his law firm for more than 2 years. Now, on top of all his legal issues, Tom was hospitalized in December for an unknown illness, which doctors have now said is dementia and late onset Alzheimer's, which is, of course, affecting his memory. He's also facing eviction from his $16 million Pasadena mansion. Wow.
Just a whirlwind of events. And it just, Erica's been rather silent over the past couple of weeks around this. I know in the beginning of things, it was, she was very talkative and heavy. Apparently we do get a lot of the inside scoop on this next season, but what happened? What happened?
I have a signing. The Washington football team signing wide receiver Curtis Samuel.
Okay. Don't do that to me. What is wrong with you? No.
I had to get her.
These past couple of days, like every time that I've been with Chris, he like looks down at his phone. He's like, "Oh, you guys got it." You guys got it. I'm literally like, "Oh my god!" He's like, "No, like, just kidding." And I'm like, "But he's got me like 5 times already," and that's how like on edge I've been. Like I believe him every time he says
it. See, my husband is young. He doesn't like try to mess with me, but he'll see something on his phone. And he'll be like, "Oh my god." Oh God. And I'm like, what? And he's like, oh, and I'm like, say it, spit it out and say it. Like, it takes him like a solid 2 minutes to tell me what's happening. I'm like, can you just tell me what's going on? Like, it gives me a heart attack.
Oh my God, no, yeah. So you literally just gave me another one.
I did have to mess with you a little bit there.
No, stop.
I knew something had to break in the middle of the show, right? It's just been happening.
It's so late. It's 8:00. People are going to bed.
They've been happening so late. The Ryan Fitzpatrick, I go to bed pretty late. Though I went to bed at like 11 the other night, 11:30. Yeah. And I checked my phone before I went to bed. And then I woke up the next day. The Ryan Fitzpatrick thing happened, I think, around midnight. So don't sleep, people. Don't sleep.
Listen, you're talking to the queen of sleep. We cannot be doing these announcements. I swear if Kenna Galladay is announced while I'm sleeping.
That won't be fun.
No, not at all.
All right, but back to Housewives. Obviously, this is a huge story, and I know it's going to be a huge storyline. They're predicting that Beverly Hills is going to come out like mid-2021. They said. So I think Andy Cohen did like a Q&A on his Twitter the other day, and somebody had asked, "Are we going to see a Beverly Hills and a New York trailer before June?" And I think Andy's response was, yes, I think so. I hope so. Ooh. So everybody, stay put. We've got a lot of good franchises on TV right now, but we can definitely say that the whole Erica and Tom thing is going to be a huge storyline this upcoming season.
100%.
Yeah.
All righty. So let's have a little bit of fun. Let's get into our games. We are taking a spin on March Madness because obviously games do start tomorrow. The play-in games start tomorrow for March Madness. The big fun starts on Friday. But yes, so we are playing a Real Housewives of New York edition of March Madness. So we've gone ahead and created a bracket of Real Housewives of New York moments because it is in honor of their 13th anniversary the other week. So a lot of the women took to, to Instagram, and they were posting just like old pictures of themselves and like where they started, here they are now, some old reunion photos. So it was really good to just see, over like these past, 13 years and how far they've come. Like it's really, really good stuff to see. So Page 6 actually posted to their account their top 13 moments over the course of the franchise. So we went ahead and put together our own style of a bracket of our favorite moments. So we actually have 16 of them. So I'm going to read them out, and then we're going to go into our bracket. And Katie and I will go through each matchup and we'll say who we picked, and then we'll essentially get to our final. Obviously, it's only 16, so it's only one side of the bracket. So if you are into March Madness, we're only doing one section technically.
Right. So the list of moments are 1 through 16. These are the seeds. These are, number 1 is the top. So we'll see if we have any upsets, right? True March Madness style.
I guess we'll see. So coming in at number 1 is Scary Island. Number 2 is I Made It Nice, infamous Dorinda quote. Number 3 is Aviva's leg throw. Number 4 is Luann versus the bush. Number 5 is Don't Be All Uncool from Miss Luann herself.
Lou brought it. She brought a lot to this list.
She did. Number 6 is Ramona's catwalk.
That's a famous meme gif.
Oh yeah, she's like
with the eyes coming out.
Number 7 is It's About Tom.
Got it.
Don't tell me it's about Tom. It's about Tom.
I can't.
I can't pronounce this, but 8 is the Cartagena boat ride.
Yeah.
Number 9 is the tequila tasting trip.
Yeah, that's definitely like our fave vacay episode.
For sure. Number 10 is Mention It All.
That big fight between Bethany and Ramona.
Number 11 is
none other than Bluestone Manor.
Yes,
where obviously. All the big brawls go down.
Number 11 is clip. from Miss Dorinda herself. Number 12 is Sonia's tooth. Number 13, we have a rookie coming in here with Leah versus the Tiki Torches. Number 14 is Luann and the Pirate.
They're not all comedic moments. Some of them are dramatic, dramatic moments.
Number 15 is Miss Tinsley with Yam drinking Luann, another iconic line. And then coming in at number 16, and while it is the 16th seed, it is quite hilarious with Luann's camel ride.
I feel as though I should have made this one Luann's camel ride / also when she got smacked in the face with the volleyball. I feel like those two kind of go together, right? Like Lou really brought it to this list. Can we just acknowledge that?
She did. My brother just commented on Facebook that he loves this. He's probably cracking up. Like, these moments are just too funny. So my screen is super bright, but I do my bracket up on this screen right here. So let's go with our first matchup. We have Scary Island versus Lou's Camel Ride.
Yeah, just like in March Madness, this rarely, like pretty much never, ever, ever happens. I'm not taking the 16 over the 1. I'm going with Scary Island.
I did as well.
Okay.
Moving into our second matchup, the Cartagena boat ride, and then the tequila tasting.
This was a really hard 8-9 matchup for me. I love both of these moments. I think I said the other day to Caitlin, I thought the Cartagena boat ride is a little bit of an underrated moment.
Right.
But I have to go with the tequila tasting because out of all the phenomenal vacations these women have been on, that is my favorite, like most hilarious vacation episode.
I'm going with the tequila tasting too. Katie and I always reminisce on that these older women could hang way more than anyone I know. Nope. They could hang more than 21-year-olds. At this tequila, I don't know how they were just slugging back tequila for probably 8 hours in the day. I don't know how that's possible. So definitely a great, great trip. Our next matchup is Don't Be Uncool and Sonia's Tooth.
Don't Be Uncool is like that's a 5. That's a 5 seed. This could have been lower. Yeah. I'm going with Uncool.
As am I.
We're all the same so far.
All righty, next up, Luann versus the Bush, and then it is actually versus Leah's Tiki Torches.
I love Leah, and I know she's going to add so many more moments the more seasons she does, but the Bush is the Bush. And
Luann and the Bush is iconic.
Which honestly makes it the hardest matchup that you will see faced is that now brings us to, in the next round, in the second round, Uncool versus the Bush. Awful.
Definitely hard.
I couldn't deal with it.
Next up, we have Ramona's Catwalk versus Clip.
Upset alert. I'm taking the 11 seed over the 6 seed. I am going with Clip.
So did I, because it's really an upset here. It's such a great moment I think they're at lunch getting turned at lunch.
It's supposed to be the gangster lunch.
The gangster lunch, and Dorinda is just off her rocker per usual, and I don't even know what clip means, but she was clipping people left and right.
Yeah.
All righty, Aviva's leg throw versus Luann and the Pirate.
I went with the leg throw. I went with the leg throw because of the women's like reaction to it, and everybody just like fell shocked, like what the hell just happened?
Did someone just throw their prosthetic leg?
It was when you think of Roni, it is an iconic moment. So I'm going with the leg.
I did too. All right.
Both of these involve Bethany, by the way.
They do. Next up is It's About Time.
We can't even say it
because it's so funny.
It's supposed to be funny.
It's not supposed to be funny, but it's underratedly such a funny scene. It's about Tom. Like I can't. It makes me cry all the time. And then It's About Tom is versus Mention It All, which is
those are
more
two
funny.
Great Bethany moments, but they're both in heated like or dramatic conversations. You know what I mean? They're like not supposed to be funny, but these lines got pulled out of both of these moments. But
Right.
I got to go with the 7 seed. I'm going It's About Tom over Mention It All.
So am I, because clearly I can't contain myself.
We're the same right now. We're on the same page here.
And then our last matchup for this round is I Made It Nice and Yeah, I'm Drinking Luann.
I love both lines, and I feel it's like I love like the Yeah, I'm Drinking is like a new one that I like to like. Don't judge, like I'm drinking. Like I feel like it's popping up more in my one-liners that I use. But I Made It Nice is an iconic moment too, and that's the reason it's the 2 seed, and I'm going with that.
I am going with I Made It Nice as well.
We're the same through round 1. Take us to round 2.
All righty, our matchup is Scary Island versus the Tequila Trip.
As much as I said tequila is like my fun like vacation episode that I love, like Scary Island is, when I say this all the time, when you know the name of an episode, that's when you know that it's iconic and phenomenal. I had to go with Scary Island.
I went with tequila on this one. So
that's a big upset, a 9/1.
Yeah, I just, for me, obviously it goes down in history as Scary Island, like again, like you knowing the name of the episode, but I don't know, that Tequila Trip, I think about it on the reg, to be honest, so. Alrighty. Next up, we have Don't Be Uncool and Luann versus the Bush.
I feel like the top half of the region was very hard. We had some hard hitters. This was the hardest decision on my end that I made here. I am going with the 4 seed over the 5 seed. I went with Luann and the Bush.
So did I. And like, need we remind you, when the Don't Be Uncool scene happened in real time, I need to tell everyone, like me, Katie, and my brother, like we said it for like probably 3 months after, like every day when we saw each other.
I think every Halloween since that episode, I've told Caitlin we should just wear sports bras and white bathrobes, no matter what the weather is, and the sunglasses, and just be that moment.
Next BravoCon, we should do it, but don't be like uncool. Like, be cool. So unfortunately, we do have to say bye to that, and Luann and the Bush does take it over there. Next up, Clip versus Aviva's leg throw.
I'm going an upset over here. I'm going 11/3. As much as the leg throw is like a big moment, I didn't like Aviva, and I'm just whatever. Like, I'm going with Clip. I'm going with the comedic moment over the serious moment. That's what I wanted.
I did as well. So I'm going with Clip.
Right. Big upset.
Our last matchup of this round is It's About Tom, and I Made It Nice.
I think I surprised my own self with this one. I took the 7 over the 2. I went with It's About Tom.
Oh my goodness. I did not go with It's About. I Made It Nice. I love the whole scene with the I Made It Nice, because it's not even just that. It's the entire, like, I cooked, I cleaned, I made it nice.
It's also at Bluestone Manor, and our favorite moments really happen there. So we have different for our semifinals here. So why don't you go through your semifinal matchup, and then I'll give mine.
So my semifinal matchup is the Tequila Tasting Trip and Luann and the Bush. And I'm picking Luann in the Bush over the Tequila Tasting.
Okay. And mine at that top half in the semifinals, I had 1 Scary Island versus number 4 Bush. I'm also going with number 4 Luann in the Bush. And then your bottom half?
I have Clip versus I Made It Nice. And both
2 Dorinda moments.
2 Dorinda moments. And I am going with I Made It Nice.
Okay, so you have 4 Luann and the Bush versus 2 I Made It Nice in your final round. Who is your champion? What is your top moment?
I cooked, I cleaned, I made it nice.
Woo! I did not expect that. I really did not expect that.
I just love it too. And she's like, and if you can't act appropriately, you all go home.
Oh, wow. I really didn't expect that.
I did. It's
Okay.
such I think it's that whole episode that brings me back, that Bluestone. Yeah, so.
I find it funny that this list too of like these moments, it's like, you know, Ramona has great moments. Sona, Bethany. This list was really dominated by Luann and Dorinda. And Dorinda's like you expect because she's got all the one-liners. Luann's moments like don't mean to be moments, but they just happen, right? That's what I love it. But I've got in my final, I have 4 Bush, Luann and the Bush, over 7. It's a Tom, which I didn't expect to have. That shocked me that I had that in my final. Yeah. It's just the way it played out. You guys know my moment. It will always be Luann in the Bush. My 4 seed is my winner. So
it's about Tom.
Honestly, this was the perfect franchise to do this. Bracket with, because we have 13 years under our belt with them, and these ladies are just, I mean, this is our favorite franchise. I think we can both say that, right?
Yeah.
And these ladies just bring it, and I love these moments, and I love them all for providing them. It's just phenomenal.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That was such a fun thing to do, and there's just so many memories, clearly we had a blast just listing off 16 of them. So
walk down memory lane.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, this is our point in the night where we get it off our chest. Positive, negative, Housewives, football, Giants, sign Kenny Galladay, whatever you want to talk about. I think he's going that route. So why don't you kick it off first?
I got to tell you, the last 48 hours on Giants Twitter has been absolutely just like exciting and fun and hilarious. And it's basically gotten to the point where right before I logged on, to do the show, it had said that the Giants and Kenny Galladay are both equally interested in each other, right, and that he's actually going to go visit MetLife and meet with Joe Judge and meet with some people. And a couple of days ago, and even like articles that were written over the past couple of weeks of wide receiver free agents, there was no mention of Galladay to the Giants. It was this just like conspiracy theory that Giants fans made up. And here we are today that it's like actually going to happen most likely. And it's just been so much fun, engaging with Giants Twitter over these past 2 days because, we obviously have a lot of fans of the podcast out there. Yeah. So they're always engaging with us, engaging with my account. And it's been hilarious. Some of the tweets coming out over the past 2 days, even today in general, like we knew we were just inching closer and closer. And I think there was a gap yesterday where I think everyone, was a little down and we were like, maybe it's not going to happen. But just seeing everyone come together, and it's super funny. And like just a lot of the stuff coming out is it's been quite the entertaining past couple of days. And if we can actually pull this off, this signing off, Giants Twitter is going to be the most annoying fan base over the next couple of days. So just get ready for that. But that's all I have to say. It's been so fun. I can't wait to open up my phone after the show and take a look at what people are saying still as the night goes on. But it's truly been a blast. So Giants Twitter is a really good community, and I love talking to them every day.
Listen, free agency is a blast every single year. I mean, there's a lot of people that love free agency more than they do the draft. I'm kind of equal on both. I love both. And so I wait for it every year. And when your team is actually in the mix to try and get somebody like a top quality player, a big name, it makes it even more exciting. So I'm with you. We're Giants fans are ready. Let's make this happen.
Woo!
Mine is super quick. It kind of plays off of the poll questions we gave you. I specifically wanted to ask that question about the underrated Real Housewives of New Jersey husbands between Marge's Joe and Bill Aiden, because Caitlin and I obviously always text about the episodes that we watch, and we have really come to love, and Caitlin had the perfect word for him, especially in the week of March Madness, calling Bill Aiden our dark horse husband. He really, truly is. That's a perfect way to put it, because Caitlin and I have been like secretly loving him. And I got to give it up. I've actually been enjoying Jennifer a little bit this season.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And she's like, she has her moments for me. And I think her biggest moment included Bill. I mean, two of them. But one of her big moments that I was really like, yeah, okay. Caitlin and I came on here and said we thought they were the most solid marriage. And then last episode it came out, or 2 episodes, where Melissa was like, when Joe goes out with the guys, or like I say I'm going out, he's like, all right, I'm going out too. And she gets scared and like she takes it as a threat that he like might do something. And Jennifer was just like, what? Really? Like I just tell Bill, like, all right, have a good time. Let me know, like, text me when you're there, like safely. And I'm like, thank you, Jennifer. Like that's what a normal, regular should be marriage, like where you trust your partner and you say, hell yeah, go out with the guys, have a great time. Like I'll see you when you get back. So I really liked her and Bill's like marriage in that moment. But then another moment between the two of them happened earlier in the season, and then it's only been 4 episodes so far. But when he got drunk at Evan's birthday party and the end of the night turned into a photo shoot of him and Jennifer, and he's drunk and he's like taking his shirt off, and like drunk Bill is honestly like my absolute favorite. And like we said, we love the Jersey men. Drunk Bill Aiden is the greatest TV that I can watch. So a dark horse, a true underdog, somebody who is slowly but surely, hopefully he's making his way to everybody else's heart, because he's won over the hearts of these 2 Housewives fans, and we truly enjoy him. And I hope Jennifer keeps it up as well. And I hope I can continue to enjoy her being a little chill. This episode tonight is when she gets shwasty at the pool party and face plants. So that's going to be an interesting one.
We will definitely, see that, and hopefully it's a good one for sure. Yeah. So that is our show for tonight. If you are watching live right now, you do not want to miss Real Housewives of New Jersey. It is on tonight at 9 p.m. Real Housewives of Atlanta is on Sundays at 8 p.m. Real Housewives of Dallas still going on. A couple more episodes left there, I think. Real Housewives, on Tuesday at 9 p.m. And then, like I said earlier, I thought it was like 40-ish days away, but the NFL draft is officially 44 days away. So with things spinning up in free agency, these mock drafts might be moving and grooving. Teams like the New York Giants, we might have another look in our distance or something, after some things are done over this, the next couple of days. But you definitely don't want to miss that. But as always, thank you guys for joining us. We will see you next time. And if you're into March Madness, have a wonderful start to the weekend, because it's about to get a little crazy in the college basketball world. But
absolutely. Cheers, everybody. Thanks for hanging out. Bye.
Bye.